Just a quick disclosure to share in conjunction with this podcast. Each of us are speaking to our personal experiences and do not consider ourselves experts and cannot offer medical, therapy, financial, or legal advice. We represent a wide range of experience on the autism spectrum and will always honor each perspective that is brought to our discussions. Our experiences, opinions, and perspectives are all unique and different and will be celebrated. Thank you so much for listening and connecting with us. Thank you. Welcome back to Navigating Adult Autism. We are just a bunch of moms with a bunch of experience, a bunch of perspectives, and a lot of opinions, And I am here today again with Heather, Dawn, Tara, Elizabeth, and Kara. And I'm Mary. Cynthia's not here today. And we are talking about holidays and or family gatherings along with those holidays. And some holidays are better than others. And I think we all kind of have issues and concerns, experiences, and perspectives on holiday gatherings. We're going to talk about all holidays and how different things come up with them. And I think when you have an adult with autism, it can go really great or it may not. And we all put our toolboxes in place to get ready for these functions. And I think it takes a little bit more work as a parent with an adult with autism than typical kids. So I'm not sure everyone knows how much we prepare before we go somewhere and talk to our child. If A, B, C, D, E, or F happens, this is what we're going to do. Or in your case, Heather, with Zachary being nonverbal, it looks a little different for you, but I think
still a tactile mission.
Tactile, yeah, there you go. You want to go ahead and start? How does it go for you? I
don't know about start.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, so I guess just to touch briefly on as Zachary was growing up, at first I think it's pretty standard for a lot of us that he didn't seem to really care or participate all that much, but he was pretty okay with being there. As he got a little bit older, I would say like 6th grade, probably 5th and 6th grade, our lives turned to, having some real social anxiety and noises of young people and the unexpected noises that they make, even if they weren't making any. Definitely, it was really hard for him. He can't handle that. So now that he's an adult, we had learned through trial and error, I would say, how to do this. And so the first thing I would say is that there's a lot of feelings and emotions mixed up with family gatherings from all your family members. Right. And so, at first, I think a lot of us try to do the prescribed thing that everybody's supposed to do at the holidays, right?
Right.
And if, in our case, a Christmas day might be 8 hours together. Like when we were first married, it was like it's a whole day,
yeah, right, all day thing.
Palooza thing, and which is great.
Yeah,
a holiday palooza, is that a word?
Christmas palooza.
Anyway, and we struggled through those, and finally we just had to come to the point, and maybe it's a little bit even back to our voice episode, where we have to be like, okay, what is best for my son? And 8 hours, he can't do that. He would end up in a closet or somewhere, and he wouldn't be participating at all, and that's just not what we wanted for a holiday. There's a difference between if you're trying to get through some important event in someone's life, like a graduation or something, you just really want to participate as a family. You try really hard to do what you can. But, holidays are supposed to be enjoyable for everybody. So there was a certain point that we just had to figure out what worked best for us. And then I will say eventually that both sides of our family have adapted pretty well. And they still ask if we want to stay all day, let's say. And I do appreciate the ask, being included in case, maybe there's some year that we think, you know what, let's go for it. Let's try, brunch, opening presents, and let's do dinner too. But it doesn't really work right now. So what we've kind of adapted, like with Christmas and different things like that, is we will like go in the morning and stay 2 or 3 hours. And then we go home and have like Christmas dinner by ourselves. That way everyone gets time to relax. Zachary's not as, he likes to be at home, first of all. Yeah. So he's less stressed and he's enjoying the holiday. I don't want to take the enjoyment out for him. because a lot of, 2 or 3 hours of doing anything for him, he really does need a break. Like a half day activity is kind of perfect for him right now. As a 22-year-old, he'll do something for 2 or 3 hours and then he does need to go home and recharge. So, we had to get that voice, and we probably hurt some feelings. We had some grandparents that through the years, my mom, I know we talked about, she just wanted to have pizza with, for Halloween or whatever it was with my little nephew. And he was a baby at that point, little. And we couldn't even get Zachary in the house. If the baby was there, like he just physically wouldn't go in. So there's times like that we've just had to work through it. And like I say, as family, you just figure it out. It's not the best case scenario or the perfect Rockwell picture, but it can still be fun and enjoyable for everybody. It's just learning how to adapt, I think.
Right.
And as we know now, we all know at least, for Zachary, he's now very intense about certain holidays, especially Christmas. And so we fight like to not celebrate it for 6 months of the year. And that's sometimes successful and sometimes not, but yeah, so it's a whole mixed bag, Mary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a mixed bag. I'm sure it wasn't all smooth sailing, right? With all the relatives.
No,
the family.
It's hard.
Yes.
I mean, we all know there's just emotions and you're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. It just, we all mourn those things. Like my mom said this just a couple nights ago. She said, because she has a grandson, a typical grandson that plays sports and is, student council and does all this stuff. And she just said, I just wish sometimes that Zachary could do these things. And I was like, that's very sweet of you as a grandma to think about it. I said, I'm past a lot of that stuff. But it was interesting just to hear her, even at 22, with Zachary being 22, her still saying that she thinks about that on kind of a regular basis. So, yeah, it's just that your mind goes there, I guess.
It does.
You just got to deal with it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And I've thought of that too with holidays. Graduation isn't really a holiday, but it's a holiday party.
Right, yeah.
And I remember listening to a lot of the moms and getting their kids off to college and the graduation parties and where are you going and applications and empty nest syndrome and people crying and my child's gone to college. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm like, really? Like, I wish my child could go away to college. And, so I know it, but I don't mean that mean. I don't wish anything negative on them, but you kind of mourn that. That was one of my mourning, like, I'm not understanding that at all. I wish that could happen for him, but it's not. From the flip side of that, I'm very fortunate because I have him around all the time, so other parents don't, and I do. So I do love that. But yeah, that's the graduation parties sometimes got to me, especially the year he graduated, it was, went through it. You go through the motions on a lot of these holidays just to try and make it work. But I think like sensory smells of food and what are they going to eat? For a long time, you had to bring special food with them, sitting down at the table. And my son, one of the first times as an adult, we're all going to sit around this table. Yes, we are. This is because there's only 3 of us, my husband and myself. So he wasn't used to large family gatherings, but he'll still, for a long time, he used to say, now we are going to sit at the table. Yes, we are going to sit at the table. So yeah, just different things that come up. So I think holidays preparation, we always have to prepare them for what's going to happen, what might happen, what's not going to happen, how you should behave. And I think sometimes there was also a switch. It seemed like everything was going okay. And then once, I think we went out to dinner for my parents' big anniversary party. We were at a really nice restaurant. Everything was going great. We all sit down at this big table. I don't know what happened to my son. He just shut down. He didn't want to talk. He smart talked to my sister-in-law that he hadn't seen in a long time. And, we have a standard, do we need to step out? As an adult, do we need to step out? And, we give him the, no one can see me now, but I'm giving the look with the big eyes. And my husband and I would take turns taking him out. Or now we can even say, do you need to step out and get some air? Because that's kind of an appropriate, do you need to get some fresh air? Yes, I do. So, okay, go do it. So he can maybe self-regulate. But I'd say there was a lot of issues with holidays. I did tell a quick story on his birthday. I think he was the only freshman in high school that crabbed about getting an iPhone for his birthday. Why did you get me an iPhone for my birthday? This was not on my list. I did not ask for this. I don't want it. I think he even tossed the box across the room on the couch and stomped upstairs. He was mad, even though we did get everything else on his list. But my husband and I did chuckle at that and say, okay, he's the only freshman, I think, that's really mad that he got an iPhone. But okay, it sat on the counter for the longest time. And, we did it as a safety issue. Back then, phones weren't. I think they got them in middle school, maybe, flip phones. But anyway, they were just
a whole new world now.
Yeah, so we thought we were really, getting the iPhone for safety. Mainly, it's not like a lot of people called him. But anyway, that sticks out in our head that birthday didn't go over too well. But anyway, anybody else want to jump in there?
So, Mary, you did say this, Elizabeth.
Yes.
You did mention the word preparation.
Yes.
And that was something that I've been thinking about is, everybody, there's so much. Everybody involved in holidays are preparing. You're preparing food, presents, you're shopping, you're doing all these activities. And the holiday season, you're going to concerts. And there's so much preparation. And, and when you're young, there's, you have young kids, there's preparation and it just kind of goes through all the events as well because you're constantly helping your children. But when you have an adult, it gets to the point where those around you, you prepare, and then you go and eat and relax and you talk and you have these fun discussions and you reminisce. But then, for us in particular, it's like, well, who's got Nathan? Who's watching? Is Chase being included? Is he, how are things going? Somebody's always, we don't get that. It's here.
Yeah.
Right.
Here we are.
Correct.
It's
That's so true.
It's not the turkey's setting in. It's time to just lean back and relax. Play my parents' favorite dice game, Farkle. We don't play Farkle. Somebody's watching where the boys are. And we've really come to, kind of through the years, worked out a system because it used to be like everybody keeps an eye on, everybody's watching. But then we've got to the point where it's like, okay, one person's assigned because when everybody's watching, nobody can relax. And then everybody also thinks everybody else has got him spotted when we realize, well, where is he?
Right.
So just to, we've just kind of developed that over the years. We take turns. Somebody is at all points kind of keeping an eye, knowing where he's at, what he's doing. Is he getting into, is he organizing? Is he turning all the lights on or all the lights off? And the things that he likes to do and walk around that make, that make him who he is. But yeah, it was just interesting because there's so much preparation that we put into any holiday festivities, and then sometimes we don't take pause and time to celebrate it because we're still working.
Right. That's true. That's very good information. It's a good point. Right.
Yeah.
Tara, what about you? How did your holidays go?
Well, I mean, they go pretty well now, but I think it's also that we all know what we can handle now.
Right. Right.
Because we used to go to my parents and it wasn't just 8 hours. We would go 3 days or 4 days
Slumber
ahead.
party.
Yeah, because they live out in Mansfield and my mom goes crazy for Christmas. It's like what Zachary wants.
Right.
It was the Christmas Lollapalooza, whatever you said.
Yeah, it is Christmas.
I think I screwed that up, but
what is it?
Christmas.
We just called it Christmas Palooza.
Palooza, yeah. I can't say Palooza. So she puts out, she really wanted the grandkids to just think that this was Silver Dollar City. Mm-hmm. So she would put out every air, one of those big air Christmas things. What are they called?
A bouncy house?
Oh, she would if she could.
Oh,
but if it wasn't icing outside, she would put it up there. But she had 3 days of crafts planned. Like we would make a new, stocking every year. And there was things that she wanted all the grandkids to do, and we would try our best. And Zion really is a Christmas boy, and he tells you what he wants. And
yes,
if you do it one year and he liked it, he expects you to do that the next year. So I know how Heather and I are looking at each other. Zachary has some
He's hardcore.
He's hardcore.
Yeah, he is hardcore.
He has expectations.
He does.
Zion does too, and I just do not. He can tell me those expectations, and now that the kids are older, I don't want to do that much work, but he still expects them. So now I just feel like I'm letting him down. I'm like, remember when you would put candy in the advent calendar, and I got a piece of chocolate for each day. And remember when you did this, and remember when you did that, and I can't keep up with that anymore. as 3 almost college age children, keeping up with the advent calendar for each child and all that, and baking cookies. I would do a calendar where we would have cookie night every, one night, and we would make snowflake. I mean, I was a stay-at-home mega mom,
Right?
Because I wanted to make it perfect and I had my mom to compare to. So my mom has made Christmas amazing every year, but she does. She has 3 days.
It's all your mom's fault.
Yeah. I love it. I love it if she's doing it.
What's her name? Should we call her out?
When it comes to me, when it's back on me, then it's really hard. So yeah, this year we're having Christmas at my house this year because Zion can't do 3 days anymore. Mm-hmm. He wants to, now that he can advocate for himself, he wants to be at home and then just experience 1 day of Christmas. And also we have a family that sort of comes down, and we all bring our dogs. So one year we had 9 dogs at my parents' house, and it's just too much.
That's a lot
for Zion. So my mom is bringing all of her blow up Christmas stuff to my house.
Oh, she is?
Oh, yeah. She's like, when can I start bringing the Christmas stuff to your house? So yeah, she's just a wonderful Christmas nut case.
Wow, it's Christmas Palooza.
It is Christmas
It's turned
Palooza.
into Christmas Coachella.
So is that just going to be 1 day, or are they going to be here for several days?
You and I got that.
Zion can handle my parents here, but it's when he's out of his element there that it's harder. So actually a couple times now that he can drive, he just comes for that 1 day, or he hasn't had his license maybe he has had it over Christmas, but for other holidays, he will just come for what he can handle, and then he leaves. Yeah. So, yeah, I can't remember anything else I was going to share, but yeah, Christmas is wonderful for him. Thanksgiving, he hates. He just stays in his room all day long.
Why does he hate it?
He hates the food, and that just cancels out the whole holiday, because food is number one on his list of what matters to him.
Yeah, that's why he got his driver's license, to get the fast food.
Absolutely. That was what motivated him to get his driver's license. And thank goodness he's working, because he spends all of his money on fast food. Oh. So his fast food, I would say addiction is pretty bad. And I mean, if you, and he's really, really into the apps, the food apps. Yeah. If he wants to save money, if he's gonna, he's like, oh, you could have got that on the Taco Bell app for way less.
Oh,
so yeah.
Cute.
Anyways, so that's my story.
Well, I think, Tara, that begs the question, this is Elizabeth, that about holiday magic, and part of it's fun because they hang on to so much of that magic piece for so long, but when is too much? When is it too much? And when you're thinking about those holiday characters, those iconic figures, and the belief part, most kids, if you've got kids listening, cover their ears right now. But most kids, as they grow, there's some environmental learning, they're kind of thinking, and they're watching, figuring things out, and they take geography in class, and they're like, now, how does he get to everybody? Or how does the Easter Bunny get to everybody in one night? They start to figure things out. They ask questions. They start to pick that up. But with my children, especially 2 of them, they held on to that for so long, and they still might hold on to it, at some point it becomes, and it's okay until you're in public or you're in school. And I know my youngest got old enough where So my oldest, we kind of set it up, we had to make the things obvious, okay, Santa has the same wrapping paper as mom and dad. And
Right.
mom bought this at the store. I was with her, but it says Santa on the package. We had to be pretty intrusive and kind of help her out there. But then, when Chase got older and his sisters came to me and said, he still has some pretty big beliefs here. And I was like, it's okay. So really, I went and I talked to him and I, told him, hey, you're getting older and I am, I want you to believe in whatever you want. Christmas and holidays are so magical. And I'm not going to tell you can't believe in anything or that you can't be excited about that. I said, but as you get older, some kids are deciding they're going to be like a grown up and they're not going to believe in all this stuff. And I said, it's okay. It's okay for them. And you don't need to tell them or think that they're bad because they don't understand or believe in Santa. But also that becomes a conversation for home. We don't want to talk about that at school. And it was hard for me, but I knew he was older and I was setting him up to be bullied or embarrassed. So I had to protect him in that way, but I also wanted to protect the magic. So I didn't say, okay, this is what's real. And so you don't believe it. I told him you can believe what you want.
That's
it's
good.
Your choice. Said, but you need to understand what others believe and respect them as well and not argue or fight with them. And just, some things can be private. And that's kind of where we're at. And he took that really well.
It's a good explanation.
So, but yeah, that's hard. So I was just wondering how, what age your kids were. Did you have to do that? Did they start to figure things out? Was that just kind of something we went through?
No, I did the same as you. I think same. Just, and he didn't want to believe it. And so I kind of just did exactly what you did. And then finally he just organically figured it out. But yeah, he didn't want to believe. In fact, even after, I don't know if he still does it. I think he does. The week after Christmas and New Year's, it's called post-Christmas at our house. Yeah. And there's
Boxing Day?
What?
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day?
December 26th is Boxing Day.
Oh.
Sorry.
I don't know that. I don't
Okay.
know that term. Okay. Well, there's not a lot of life that goes on between that week because it's post-Christmas. He doesn't leave the house. He's mourning that Christmas is over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I go, even I say, let's go out. Nope, can't. It's post-Christmas.
He named that. Okay.
He named it. Yeah, not going anywhere. It's post-Christmas.
great.
So then he's fresh after the new year, but he loves Christmas. But I think too, I'm going to take a poll here of just prepping your kids for behavior wise. I mean, I know Heather, you talked about it and Zachary's in the closet a lot and you wanted to leave, but
that sounds fun, doesn't it?
That didn't sound right.
When he goes to the closet,
when he goes
it's time
to the
leave.
closet.
Right,
My
right.
apologies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically hangs out in like the master bedroom, bathroom, closet situation, wherever he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
He just finds them. But by now he's old enough. He knows where they are because he's been to their houses so much.
Yeah, he's comfortable with grandma and
That's where he
grandpa's
goes.
house. Yeah, he has a specific area and everybody's, it's just those two houses.
So
yeah.
are they content with that? Or because my parents would be always trying to, well, let's do something that he would want, or let's do, and I finally have just said, he just wants to be in his room,
Yeah,
we just have to be content that he does not want to be here.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes, I think that that's been a learning curve, I think, for everybody. There's been certain times for Michael and I that we feel like no one, I mean, I say this with love, but no one really cared he was in the closet because everyone else was
Doing their own thing.
Well, like Elizabeth said,
Yeah.
everyone else was kind of relaxed and enjoying their holiday, and that's totally fine. Like, I don't, blame anybody for that. But so we've had lots of feelings at times that, we're all in here, unwrapping presents, or we're looking at our Halloween candy, or whatever the case may be. But there is some education involved, like you said with Zion, that definitely, he has Aunt Chris, and she has a special way of interrupting his departure that's usually pretty successful, and she makes a big effort to do that. But sometimes he does need just a break, and we'll just respect that, especially like, he's 22. So this isn't a new thing that we're just learning. We know that he needs time. He loses eye contact after a while, and there's just certain signs that he just needs a break. He's overstimulated. So it's a push and pull, I would say. But that part's been emotional. I mean, that's why we had to finally say at one point, like, we just can't do this as the prescribed.
Right.
Like,
8-hour
you
day.
all can. And that's the other thing, too, is don't feel bad that you're going to go on without us and have some Christmas dinner or whatever the case may be. It's okay. Our feelings are not hurt with that. We'd rather have a successful 2 or 3 hours than 8 hours and it goes bad, And I'd rather leave Zachary with that impression, too. And, I mean, the lesson, too, back to Santa real quick. We saw Santa. So if anybody's out there and they got, an adult son, they had a special sensory, I can't remember who put it on exactly.
Bass Pro?
It was at the mall.
Okay. Mom
Yep.
does it too. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do sensory Santa, and I can't remember if I think we signed up for a particular time, and we went before the mall was open. And I thought that was one of those times where, because I saw other moms like me with adult, male sons with beards, and we were going to see Santa.
Right.
And so, you kind of get to the point where it's like, hey, this is something he's gonna love Santa probably when he's 40, and I love Santa, so I can still hear the bell. You know what I'm saying? Polar Express, shout out. I can still hear the bell, people. And Zachary can definitely hear the bell. So I think it's
And he can hear it in October.
and he can hear it not or July.
Or July.
He hears the bell all year long. But we didn't have, because like socially for school, like Elizabeth was talking about, that did never come into play because he's never really had any peer interaction. And he's been in a self-enclosed, like, special ed
And they
room.
probably had Santa come in and visit.
Yeah, they probably did, yeah.
They're still doing,
Yeah.
they're still talking
True.
reindeer and
Yeah,
doing art projects. And that's okay, because if that's what they're enjoying,
right.
that's great.
Yeah, you just roll with it. Yep.
Right.
So
Dawn, how are your holidays?
Oh, boy.
JR. Good or bad? Does he choose to participate?
He doesn't usually choose to participate. I have the luxury of having a very small family. And we did, my side of the family always claimed Thanksgiving. Steve's family always claimed our Christmas attention. So we always split it up that way. My dad's gone, and my mom maybe is partially mentally gone. I mean, I think he enjoys being with family, again, wanting to be asked to be included, that initial thing, but it wears off very quickly. And he'll go off, into a bedroom, and, it'll be watching stuff on his phone or whatever. He'll find ways to occupy himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess just listening to this conversation makes me realize how bad a mother in some respect, because, I don't have a lot of Christmas traditions and things. And I blame my British genetics, from my side of the family, the stiff upper lip, type of stuff. And I do think there's an autism shadow that lingers on some of my family members. And so sometimes that magic, maybe isn't there. Regarding Santa, I do remember when my kids were younger, I think it was still elementary, but I could be wrong. So my daughter, who's 2.5 years younger, asked JR, so do you think there really is a Santa Claus? And JR goes, I sure hope so.
Aw.
And recently we had a family reunion, and this was this year, that autism shadow, so my brothers can be not as inclusive just because they're in their own little world, so it's like that parallel play only as adults,
Oh.
And so we're at the table, we're eating at a restaurant, and there was 7 of us maybe. Finished the meal, and JR goes, what about dessert? Brahms is right down the street, I'll buy.
Oh.
It's a party.
Wow.
I know.
That's
I-
huge.
It was, and I'm sure I got the wide eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thumbs
That's
up.
cool.
All right, JR. So there is growth there. He can't drive, so he can't leave. He's got to go somewhere.
a good
and
point.
It's usually, to a room to do his own thing. Yeah.
Zachary likes to kiss people. And they're like, oh, especially grandparents are like, just
Oh.
kiss me 4 times. Like, he's telling you goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I was just going to ask that. I was
He's
like,
done.
is that his way to say goodbye?
Yeah. He's done.
Yeah, even today, like we had a meeting and he tried to kiss and hug the person from the provider, from the community provider.
And that means
Just like,
leave.
I think he wants me to leave. I'm like, you hate to say like,
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's cute.
that's when you know
reminds
he's
me-
done. He just hugs and kisses everybody 12 times. And
You know it's your time to go.
Yeah.
The social translation. You see the behavior. You as the mom know
What he
what
means.
it is.
Yeah.
I remember Jamie McGranahan, another autism parent.
Awesome mom.
Mom.
Yep.
Deaf child. And
And autism.
I remember, yes, obviously he needs a sign language translator. Jamie had made a comment and it was like, I need a social translator. That's what I need, to look at the behavior. What does this mean? What do I need to do?
Oh my gosh. That's just years. You just have to be with the person for a long time.
We're all
to figure
probably
that
their
out.
people,
Yeah.
wouldn't we say?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For each, yeah.
Kara, how was yours?
Kelsey's was pretty laid back around Christmas. Didn't show a lot of enthusiasm. Didn't really ask for a lot. We would just kind of, I think she would want this, or I think she would want this. She would maybe say a couple things, and then, so then I just bought clothes to add to it. Yeah. Opening up presents, she wasn't real excited. Like we got her bike one year. We were so excited. We got her this bike, and no, she just opened it up, and took the big blanket off of it and just wasn't real excited about it. I think it was overstimulating for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Overstimulating.
Maybe the attention on her. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't like that. Maybe.
I was one that decorated a lot.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Shocking.
As we're eating holiday food, that was Kara's idea. Let's have a holiday
Who brought us
meal.
all?
Hey, we're talking the holidays. We
And
got to
we
eat
got a bunch of
holiday
gifts.
food.
Get us in the mood.
So I was one to decorate quite a bit, and she really didn't want to get in. But when she did, it was kind of funny. I'm like, that ornament isn't supposed to go there. But,
yeah.
And Roger goes, just let her do it. You can correct it later.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of traditions as a child, though?
As a child myself?
Yeah. Did you
No.
pass them on? Okay.
No, and I'll explain. Okay, my mom, we were Jehovah's Witness. So we didn't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't celebrate Halloween. We didn't celebrate 4th of July. Nothing.
Yeah.
And so when I got to be an adult, then it kind of got, I'm kind of guilty if I start, celebrating this. And then it started going, this is fun. I've got to. So then I got a little crazy about it.
Yeah.
Thinking I can do this now, so that I think that's
making
probably
sense.
why.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. It all comes out.
You just needed to dig
It's
a little
therapy.
Dig a little bit deeper.
But that sort of makes sense. But,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that may just be family,
Dynamics.
the dynamics, because like if you don't learn those traditions, then your kids don't really, But my mom, man, she pushed traditions.
Was she
like-
Jehovah's Witness too?
No.
Okay.
No, but she
Is that why she goes overboard?
No, but she came from a very hard household with abuse and stuff. So I think that she just wanted to make our childhood so much different than her own.
Yeah,
For sure.
We did the same thing we did down to the T. So that's why I think my kids, and I do the same thing. So, with the child with autism who likes schedule, and you start schedule at a young age and they think it's going to be there every single year.
Mhm.
And then finally mama's tired of doing that
Right.
for
Yeah.
20 years.
But that's good though.
Yeah.
Change is good for our
Change is good.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
our
right.
kids need to adapt. It
That's
can't
right.
be the same every single year. So a little
Yeah.
adaptation, a little change is good for them.
That's what I was going
Well,
to say. It's turned into
yeah.
a social, story that, look, I'm older now. We don't do all this anymore.
And now my
that's-
mom is bringing the toys to our house.
Wow.
But so what I told him, I was like, if you want to do that, and my son is verbal and I hate to say high functioning, but yes, he's high functioning. I said, if you want to continue that tradition, I'm putting you in charge of it.
That's
great.
perfect.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that.
I'm glad that we're having this part of the discussion, because with that, hearing that from you guys, because I feel some guilt because I can't keep up with it. I've raised 5 kids. The youngest is 18, and we've done and done and done, and now I'm tired. But then, because I know they still love that, there's a lot of guilt. So to
There can
hear, you talk about that's actually good, and the change is good, and learning these responsibilities as they become adults, giving them that opportunity, because I do feel guilty sometimes when, they want that chocolate advent calendar, and we used to do this, and then the guilt
takes so
comes
much
out.
time.
But
It does take a lot of
it's
time.
hard
And I
to
think
keep
it's okay to say, sorry, no cookies this year. Listen, my mother-in-law makes the cookies, but sometimes I just say, no, I can't. I'm not doing that anymore,
Yeah.
but I have turned it on him and said, what do you like that I do? I know Zion's told you, but I mean, I think it was just a couple of years ago. I asked my son, what do you like that I do? Because maybe I'm doing too much. Not real. I was a joke, but he narrowed it down to a few things. So I thought, okay, I can do that, but
I like
put it back on them like you did to Zion.
Yeah, right.
So, but back to the I want to talk about this stimulatory behavior though. Like if it gets too much, and I know Zachary takes a break, but did any of your other kid, JR goes to his room, Zion goes to his room, right? Kelsey's just kind of laid back.
Or
She's
we
laid
leave,
back,
or
but
we
then when
left.
Kelsey was very oral. She sucked her fingers, till she was 13, 14 years old, because it calmed her down.
Yeah.
And, and 13, 14-year-olds sucking their fingers, they start stinking, and people don't want to hang out with you. And we've tried bribing her. We even bribed her with like a 4-wheeler. If you stop sucking your fingers, we'll buy you a 4-wheeler. It didn't work. We ended up getting the mouth palate spreader, and that took care of it. So getting back to the sucking fingers, I'm getting off topic. She would start sucking her fingers. And so we're like, okay, she's getting a little overstimulated. So I'd take her to the bathroom. We do the face, massaging, the deep pressure face massaging in the joint, to kind of calm her down.
The brushing.
To calm her down. And so we would remove her from the situation and calm her down, and then bring her back in, and things would be better.
Elizabeth, you too with your kids? Did they remove themselves ever? Or
Yeah, a lot of it was, it goes back to kind of that expectation. We would just take it a little slower because, sometimes they would get overstimulated. It took usually takes Nathan 2 to 3 days, to open presents, just because that was he just took his time. And now we figured out exactly what he likes, and he gets 14 DVDs or something and nothing else, because that's what he likes. But yeah, just kind of, I think a lot of it too is there's, just so many people coming and going. But there were times, especially when they were younger, but I don't know if they've changed or if we've changed. We
or
don't,
both, maybe.
we don't put as much pressure on. There's not that same kind of pressure as when they're kids. That you've got to have the perfect smile, the perfect excitement, because everybody's worked so hard, and you got an Easter basket, and you got this, and we expect them to be so excited, and they're not always. Sometimes it's just overwhelming. So
Right.
Has there ever been an outburst at one of your family functions?
yes.
And then how did you handle it? What brought it on?
Oh, who knows?
Right.
I mean, there was so many outbursts during, I mean, we never left my parents' house, but we definitely had to deal with a lot of meltdowns at their house. But one thing, I mean, what makes it so great at my parents' house is that we used to live there. We had actually added on to their house. So we actually have our own little portion of their house.
Oh, that's nice.
So he has his own room and everything. but yeah, we dealt with a lot of behavior at there. Now, if we dealt with behavior at my other Jason's parents' house, we would have to just leave because there was no safe spot in their house.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There was no place that he's comfortable there.
Mm-hmm.
Even today, they're raising. I love my in-laws, but and they have signed up for a lot of. I mean, they have a lot on their plate. They have my brother-in-law who's disabled in a wheelchair with, like I told you this before, has cerebral palsy and autism. But they also are raising their grandchild, who has a lot of delays and stuff as well. Who's I think 8, and Zion. And I finally just have told my mother-in-law this, that he cannot handle his little cousin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just too much. So
Right.
if we go over there, Zion takes his own car and leaves. Like, I try to get him to stay an hour. So if he can stay an hour, I allow him to leave. So, I mean, he's an adult. He can make his own choices. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard with that, being an adult, making your own choices too, and teaching them not to be rude or to,
Right.
polite
But
or
still,
try new things.
Be
But
respectful and come
correct.
he is very
Yeah.
respectful now.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Because like Kelsey now, being older, she'd call and she goes, well, I think it was it last year? My friends were going to do a Christmas. I said, too bad. We've got our family Christmas. You can't get out of it.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what families do. You're going to come and spend Christmas with us. And then they need to turn around and make,
Right.
you can maybe go later on that night. So what we did is we had Christmas that morning, opened presents. And then she went over to her friend's house. And then later on that night, they came back.
Mhm.
And so we adapted for it. But, there are traditions, and I know you're an adult, but you're not going to get out of it
Yeah.
Mhm.
because you're an adult. You still have to go and spend some time because
Mhm.
that's what families do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's part of Christmas.
And that's the same thing with Thanksgiving food. I mean, like, you eat what's there. I'm not going to I usually do make macaroni and cheese. I make sure that there's something there that he
Right.
can eat. But if you don't like it, don't complain. You just wait until you get home and you can make whatever you want.
Right.
That's the same thing we've done with all dinners. If you don't like what mom makes, you make your own.
Yep.
But he was able to make his own. I mean, in the last couple of years. Yeah. So, but I mean, I think my parents have been very understanding on his Zion's circumstances now. I do want to talk about how hard it is to find vintage things that Zion loves for Christmas. It's not.
Yes.
It's not buying off of
Yes.
the Toys R Us catalog
no.
or any other catalog. I have to search, or it has to be handmade, or it has to be like some $120 Doctor Who character. Well, since he has now loved Silver Dollar City, I buy him a Silver Dollar City gift season pass,
Mhm.
and then I go searching, like in October, for vintage T-shirts, or I mean, it is hard. That's what
Yes.
like, our kids are into some very unusual things sometimes because
Mhm.
they get real focused on one thing, and it makes it very hard to
It does.
You
find
need the
their presents.
Mercari app. Do you have the Mercari app?
No, what is
'Cause-
that?
It's like a eBay, I guess. I'm so not technical, but Michael found that, and that's on his phone, and that's how we found all the VHS tapes.
All your-
Because that's all Zachary wants.
Your
is
VeggieTales one?
VHS tape. Any
Any
VHS that he's ever said. Like, we're into Elmo right now because Elmo's awesome. We ordered 5 last
We
night.
love Elmo.
But yeah, we've like, the search is quick, and then it just pops up. I mean, it's like eBay, where you have a personal seller that has these things stored in their
Oh,
attic, I
okay.
guess, and they're
Yeah.
selling them.
Teddy Ruxpin. We're looking for a Teddy Ruxpin out
Okay.
there right now. One that works, because he did
Well,
not. He found one
I don't even know
before.
what that is.
We're gonna start
What is that?
searching.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember him.
It's a Teddy. It's
Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, it was from our
Yeah,
our
yeah.
childhood, and it's a little bear that you put a little tape in, and he dances and tells a story. And we're looking for one of those.
Wow. My son's vintage, but not that vintage. But
Yeah.
he'll tell me like Three Stooges volume, da 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 da
Oh, I
da.
love
I'm
that.
like, what? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has odd little gifts sometimes, but and I think too. I was telling you girls earlier that even on Christmas, when he opens gifts, we have to, say this was not on your list. So be prepared because if
Yes.
it's not on the list that he wanted, he used to have major meltdowns. It's gotten a lot better. But now he does accept, no, this is not on your list. Or,
He prepares himself.
be prepared. Or
Yeah.
even still he'll, is this all? Is this all I have? That wasn't everything on my list. Then I'll say, well, and then I think, oh, did I spoil him? But I don't think it's spoiled. I mean, if it was on his list, he thinks he should have it.
No, I think it's just black and white for him that
Right.
he asked for these 10 things.
And
you asked him
And
to make a
yes,
list.
that's what
most
happens.
likely.
He gets the
should get
10
it.
things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've actually saved his Christmas list that he makes because they're
love
very
that.
cute and
I love
entertaining.
this.
Yeah.
Because he'll correct you, like comma, not this. And so, but I always have a scapegoat to say, well, you haven't received grandma and grandpa's gifts yet, or
Yeah.
in St. Louis, that buys me a little time.
There you go.
Yeah.
But really quick on other holidays, like Mother's Day, he told me one year that it's Mother's Day again. Did you know that's my least favorite holiday of the year?
Oh, nice.
I said, oh, thanks. Well, it's give me this, give me that, do that. I don't even do that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But holidays, I think, have been really hard on us. I don't know.
Mother's Day is not it. I've had a couple bad, rough
Yeah.
Mother's Days, because Kelsey's not real affectionate. I remember there was one year, and she was older, and I didn't even get a phone call from her. Happy Mother's Day, nothing. And so Roger had to reach out to her and say, did you forget it's Mother's Day? And then I get the phone call, but I already know that he had, mentioned
Prompted
that.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's something a lot of our kids don't have that. They
Right.
don't have that.
Yeah. I mean, he was being truthful to me. I don't think he
Yeah.
was trying to hurt my feelings or anything.
Mhm.
He just thought he had to wait on me all weekend. And I don't have him wait on me all weekend. But I think in maybe his mind, he thinks that's what's going to happen. And it's not written down or it's very not solid. I don't know. But now I have to prep him for that. It's Mother's Day coming up. But
There were certain rules that I made Zion. Like we had a rule that, of course, he's not going to buy for any of his siblings or me or his dad. But we have a rule in our house that they have to spend at least $10 on their sibling. And that was before people got jobs. No, Hannah's making more than I am.
right.
So maybe we need to up her. But yeah, so that made him
Think about others.
Yeah, think about others,
Right,
and
right,
they knew
Karen.
that he knew that they were going to buy it for him as well. So that helped him develop that a little
True.
bit. But if you're an only child, it might be different because he relied on his sister and brother to know that, okay, they got me something, I need to get them something. So it's totally different.
Yeah. Well, we do have our son buy for his grandma and grandpa now and his uncle. So that was about 5 years ago. And
Well, we even had the conversation, I think, with Kelsey is, we always got for her and she didn't, when she got her job, she wasn't buying for us. And so we had the conversation, guess what? We're spending this amount of money. And we're getting this for you, Kelsey. You need to start thinking about other people,
Right.
like your mom and your dad. We don't want a lot, but it's just the thought. It's the
Definitely
thought
the
of you
thought,
going out and thinking about us and what we would probably want. And, it's just part of
being considerate.
of growing up and considerate and thinking of other people. You just can't keep,
taking or
taking and taking. You've got to give too.
right. Right.
Sometimes
Good
I-
lesson.
I think it's just that they haven't figured it out. They've just never thought about it because we have to do so much direct teaching.
Right.
We mentioned, environmental learning. A lot of people learn from what's going on in their environment, making mistakes and watching others. But with our kids, a lot of it's got to be directly taught, and
Right.
it's got to be directly taught many times.
Correct.
Yeah.
So then that might be part of it. And it sounds like, you guys are handling it, but my girls have, they've helped with that, with the boys, and actually the school system, with the young boys.
Presents.
They do they would have the times where they could go in and have the little stores, and it really taught them when they were younger.
Forgot about
especially
that.
the youngest one. He's just kind of kept with that. So.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, we'll wrap it up here. I think holidays can be stressful at times, and I was just curious about all the meltdowns and the preparations. I think we've all kind of done that. So, listeners, if you're out there, you're not alone. It does take a lot of planning and prep and
Over years.
years and years, and continues to do so, even though it does get better. Anyway, Tara, I'm going to shoot over to you.
Okay.
Where everyone can find us, and we appreciate everybody listening.
I actually wrote it down this time because it's really sad. I made these accounts and I still can't remember them. So our website is navigatingadultautism.com. Our Facebook page is Navigating Adult Autism, and Instagram's the same. And then you can hear us on Spotify and Apple, or you can just listen to it right on the website. And we're going to say goodbye.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for listening.